Hi everyone, welcome to another video. Today I'm back at Manor Park Classics. I've been meaning to come back for a while and just haven't been able to make it. So this is their classic car auction. It's happening tomorrow. You can probably hear in the background the auctioneer. They've got a motorcycle auction today, so apologies in advance. I'll be competing with the auctioneer at some points during this video. A really good selection of cars going back, quite a lot of kind of 60s era cars, all the way up to fairly modern stuff. You can perhaps see behind me kind of 80s, 90s Mercedes. And a really good range. Some actually what I think could be really good value buys here as well. And interestingly, if I tip the camera back, they've just had this mezzanine level put in here at Manor Park, which will be opening soon. So we're going to wander around. They've got some cars outside as well, show you some of my favourites, have a look at their condition, tell you a bit about them, and of course see what they sold for at the auction. Here's a nice little Triumph Dolly Sprint. I haven't looked at one of these for quite a long time actually, and this one's in fairly good condition. It's got loads of history going back to the 1990s, had a lot spent on it, apparently an engine rebuild about 6 years ago, full respray and then some rechroming done in 2019. I'm not sure the paintwork's that brilliant. That's not bad, but I wonder if there's some slight colour mismatches. Anyway, it looks fairly decent, don't get me wrong. These were 2 litre, it was about 135 horsepower-ish. Fairly nippy back in the day, limited slip diff. And this one looks really good. It's guided at £9,000 to £11,000. The shut lines are quite perfect. And you know, it's a little bit rough around the edges, bit of a scrape. But all in all, a good looking car, and I do like these. And you know, that's a sensible kind of guide price as well. Perfectly usable. You're not going to win any Concours events, but it's a decent price for a fun little car. The wood's held up all right in here. It's never the highest quality, to be honest. And the seat's got a little bit of wear, but nothing major. A bit dark in there, so we'll move on.
Online bidders back in now at 7. At 7,000, 7,000. Would you come back in for another 2 online underbidder? At £7,000 is here. At 7,000, 7,000. Are we finished and done online? You go in for one more. At £7,000 is the current bid. And 2. At 7,2 bid. At 7,200 at the minute in North Yorkshire. It's with you at £7,200. At 7,272. At 7,200, we're bid now at 7,002. 7,400 if you want to go again. At 7,002, are we finished and done? We'll count you down now. At 7,200, the bid then once. At 7,200, the bid then twice. Finished and done at £7,200 with you online at 7,200. That's your bid. Provision.
1968 Lotus Cortina here, in unusual colour, at least for me. These almost always seem to be white, the ones I see at least. Lovely looking car. Legendary car, of course, as well. And this one's guided at £24,000 to £26,000. It's been in the collection and largely unused for a few years. Looks excellent condition. And these still seem to be selling reasonably well for that price. You see the Lotus twin cam engine. Yeah, I like the look of this. Red isn't really my colour, I have to say. Looks good in here as well. Very dark. I won't show you any more.
It's a 1968 Ford Cortina, and over to Mr. Stephen Berry.
Now, Tom, one of my habits and one of the things that I enjoy doing, every man's got to have a hobby on the internet. Don't worry, we're not straying into dark waters. Is to correct people who don't know the proper name of the Tamworth-built three-wheeler. It's not the Robin Reliant. It's the Reliant Robin, and I love to correct people. But I wonder if you could tell me what this car is called, because the number of people that would say it's a Lotus Cortina, and that, of course, is wrong, but then again, virtually everybody in this room knew that. Believe it or not, the name of the Mark I was the Ford Consul Cortina developed by Lotus. That was its official name, which I think everybody agree was a bit of a mouthful. By the time we got round to the Mark II, and did you know, perhaps you didn't, that the Mark I was made by Lotus, the Mark II was made by Ford. You all did that. You all knew that, didn't you? They all knew that. Was actually made by Ford on the production line at Dagenham. This is a very historic version of that car, owned by a racing driver called Mike Spence. What an interesting character he was. Look him up. He's got a story. He was Jim Clark's teammate. He raced in Formula One, and people are thinking, those colours look familiar. Mike was a works driver for Alan Mann Racing, and of course, these are the Alan Mann Racing colours, red with the gold stripe. Did you know, by the way, that with the Mark II, you can have the car in a solid colour, or at no extra cost to you, the customer, you could get the stripe. This car's in fantastic condition, both the exterior, the interior. The engine looks immaculate. The car is absolutely on the money. And in a day when people go absolutely crazy for the Sierra Cosworth, why not be a bit smarter and get its daddy, the Cortina Lotus?
100. You're still hanging on in online, you coming in at 24.5. 24,750. 25,000, and we're on sale from this point. I'll put the hammer up now at £25,000. Says no. Once to the gentleman in the room at 25,000. Twice, finished and done. Your bid, sir.
Quite a few Triumph Stags here. I'm going to show you this one because I think it represents excellent value for money, and I love the colour. The wheels are just absolutely fantastic. Apparently an older body off, respray and recommission. It's not perfect. There's marks on it around where the hood attaches along the back end of this boot. It's got quite a lot of swirl marks, and there are minor rust patches poking through all over, particularly around the front of the bonnet. But it's had £17,000 spent on it in the last few years, including £4,500 on this interior, which looks pretty much like new. May divide opinion on taste. You know, the wood, the dash, seems to have held up incredibly well compared with some how some do. I think this looks like it must be new as well. So it's had, obviously with that £17,500 spent on it, it's had all kinds done, particularly to the engine. I think it's upgraded to Weber carbs, etc. So I think this is a bargain for what it's had spent on it. It's not perfect, chromework's excellent, but you can see just these very small bits of rust poking through all over, bubbling rather, not rust as such here. Comes with a factory hardtop as well. You can get that around the £10,000 mark, considering what some Stags sell for in ropey condition. I think that's excellent. The 3-litre V8, of course, this is a Mark II.
At 6,000, 6,008. Are we finished and done at 6,008? 7,000, thank you. I'm going to have to go 7,2. 7,2's my bid. At 7,002. At 7,2, 7,4. I'm going to go 7.5, and then we'll take 7.6. If that's an indicator, I'll let you know. 7.6, I'm out, you're in. At 7,006, we'll go 7.8 next if we can then. At 7,006. At 7,600, would anyone else like another 2? At 7.6 is the bid here. Online, my commission interest is out now at £7,600. Would anyone else like 7.8? At 7.6. At 7,600, finished and done then. Last chance in fair warning then with the online bid at the minute at 7,600 once, twice, finished and done then at £7,600.
E30 BMW here, 318i. This is an auto. They're becoming a staple of the classic car auctions now. Very popular, it seems. This one is only done about 66,000 miles. As I say, it's an auto. It does have some imperfections. The red paintwork shows quite a lot of swirling. Some damage here on the bumper. And quite faded here in the mirrors. Slightly tatty, guided at £6,000 to £7,000. Ordinarily, I'd think that would make that is, relatively speaking, a low mileage one for one of these. And on both sides, you can see this kind of damage around here. Obviously, quite a lot of marking on there. And unfortunately, it's the classic red paint here, look really, really faded. Whether the being a convertible will save it, I don't know. I'm personally not sure it's going to get much above 5 in this condition. Maybe it will. Maybe I'm wrong. Do love these 80s and 90s interiors though. This is 1992.
Online bidder, new online bidder, I should say, at 3,004. Welcome to the party. At 3,004. At 3,000, 3,400 is bid. Would anyone like 3,600? At 3,004. Are we finishing done at just £3,400? I'll take 3,600 if anyone wants to jump in. At 3,000, 3,004. Finishing done then once, twice, 3,400. Your bid online at 3,400. That's with you online.
Always attracted to these. It's a 1998 CL 420. So obviously the 4.2 litre V8 in these. I came to look at it expecting the worst, to be honest. It's so rare to see these now in such good condition. It's definitely not perfect, but there's a lot of pretty horrible ones of these around nowadays, to be honest. The paintwork's not too bad. That looks like an aftermarket grille on there. Motorcycle auction just starting in the background. I did wonder if there's a slight mismatch there, but I think it's just the light. And these do get rusty arches. I've seen pretty badly on these. Looks like that's not quite right. Alloys look good though, and this pillarless coupe, these CLs were such high quality at this era of Mercedes. And this one looks really, really good in here. Beautiful trim. It's got an updated head unit. The condition in here is really excellent. Really, really good. I'm impressed with this, I have to say. Guided, I think it's £6,000 to £8,000, which initially I thought was quite steep, but having seen the condition, I think that's probably fair. I would be interested if it goes cheap end of that for sure. It's rare to find one, as I say, as I keep saying, this good. There is some kind of scuffing, discoloration on this bumper. Not sure how well that'll come out. That looked like it was a bit of rust, but it's actually just dirt down there. Yeah, the quality of the way these were built back in the 90s, these Mercedes, just hasn't really been replicated, in my opinion. I mean, you open these doors, and the weight of that door, you know, it really, you can feel the quality when you open them. Lovely.
6,300 and on sale. 6,400. 6,400. Shakes the head. Gentleman's bid here at 6,400. Hammers up and selling away at 6,400. You sure? You've come this far, sir. One more. 6,500. Shakes the head. Sells just behind. With you then, sir. Once, twice. Finished. 6,500 back in at 6,500. Would you like 6,600? Thank you again, sir. 6,600 is bid. At 6,600. At 6,000, 6,600. Look at it there. It's a lovely car. At 6,600, just behind you, though. At 6,600 once, twice. And I'm selling at £6,600. You're finishing done at 6,600.
I do love an AMG. This is a CLS 55 AMG. Unfortunately, a Category D write-off back in 2014 with some apparently minor damage. Quite a lot of stone chips on the bonnet. And a bit of damage here. Obviously, 70,000 mile car. I think this one's 2006. It's 2005, sorry. It looks quite low on the suspension here. I'm not sure if that's been modified or not. A little bit of damage here on this front pillar as well, bubbling there. So not an overall brilliant condition, but it's not bad at all. And these, of course, came with the legendary M113K Mercedes AMG engine. Supercharged 5.4 litre V8. These sound brilliant. 475 horsepower, I think well over 500 pound-foot of torque, and really pretty tunable. This is guided at £6,000 to £8,000. I reckon that's a great buy, notwithstanding the fact that it's a Category D insurance write-off. Looks decent in there, very dark, almost unused in there. And looks fairly decent in here as well. You know, obviously it's a 20-year-old car, or it has got the dynamic seats, which is, I don't know how common these were in this era of Mercedes, but these have the kind of massage function as well as the blowing up of the bolsters as you go round corners. Sounds gimmicky, apparently very good. Yeah, highly tunable these as well. I'd quite like this. I do already have an E63 AMG, so not sure what niche this would fill in my little collection, but I'm always tempted by an AMG.
Ever online at 6,400, once, twice, 5. 6,005. At 6,000, 6,500, your bid in Essex, welcome to you. At 6,005, it's against you now, 6,600's bid. At 6,600 the bid. At 6,000, 6,006. Are we finished and done here at 6,600? Would you like to go again, online bidder? At 6,600 the bid, then once. At 6,600 the bid, then twice. Finished and done, £6,600. Hammers up and away it goes, this time at 6,600. So
I reckon this Audi 80 looks like great value, guided at £5,000 to £6,000. In part because it's super low mileage, 21,000 miles, which is believed to be correct. I haven't checked it out, I have to admit. So Audi 80, 1983 this one, and it's a CD5S. So the 5-cylinder engine with a 5-speed gearbox. You can see it's had some work around here, but not quite been finished properly. But I mean, it looks in very good condition. It looks straight. The paintwork looks fairly good. There is, you know, some evidence of rust, particularly I think under this bumper, poking through in bits. But for that kind of money, I don't think that's so bad. I think there's some rust along this sill, however. Along the door, you can see, perhaps you can't see, but kind of down the side of this metal trim, there's rust poking through a bit under there. Interior, I mean, this looks excellent. I can now totally believe this is only 21,000 miles because of that condition. Really nice. Kind of velour seats are in very, very good condition. And the back is in equally good condition. I reckon this could make a bit more than that, 5 or 6. Having said that, definitely some rust coming along this windscreen, sunroof, sorry. I also wonder, this could well have been stored quite a while. There's quite a lot of green that you get from storing cars outside, and I know I'm not picking this out to be fussy, but just to show you down here is, you know, kind of deeply ingrained that green growth that you get when a car's stored outside for a long time.
Now, Tom, I know that when a lot of people first spy me on one of these auction videos, the word that pops into the head is wankle. But no, this is not equipped with the infamous rotary engine that its predecessor, the NSU R080, was. This, the Audi 80, replaced that car, and it's a very significant car in the development of Audi. They wanted to be less like the Volkswagen Passat and more like the BMW 3 Series, and they certainly succeeded when it comes to this particular one, the Audi 80 5S, because this car has 5 speeds in its manual gearbox and 5 cylinders in its engine, which has been described by the lads upstairs as sonorous. I think they've been reading books, and I'm going to have a word with them about that. That book reading, it can't be a good thing. In a world, back in the 80s, back in the mid-80s when this was new, you rarely saw an exotic car batting about. A Porsche, a Ferrari, or a Lamborghini was a special thing, a sight to behold. Now, of course, cars like that are all over the place. But when was the last time you saw, and especially one like this, which is so well preserved, on account of it only having done 21,000 miles from new, When was the last time you saw an Audi 80 5S?
At 4,000, 4,200, are we finishing done for 3? At 4,003 for 4. At 4,400 is the bid now at £4,400. For 5, one more. At 4,004. At 4,400, are you finished? Are you done online? At 4,400, we'll count you down then for the first time. For 5. At 4,005, Bristol, would you like to go for 6? At 4,005. At 4,000, 4,500, finished and done then. Last chance, fair warning, 4,600. Thank you very much, online bidder. You're back in now at £4,600. At 4,600 is the bid. At 4,000, 4,006. At 4,006, go for 7 next. Are we finished then and done? At £4,600 is the bid. At 4,000, 4,006. I'm going to count you down now online. At £4,600, are we finished and done? At 4,600, then once. At 4,600, then twice. Last chance, fair warning then with the online bid at £4,600. Provisionally with you online.
309 GTI here, I think this is 1989. And these are really popular now. This is high mileage though. This, I think, been in this auction before, 159,000 miles. Full glass out respray, I think that was about 6 years ago or so. And it's had the engine swap from the 405, the MI 16 valve engine, which is actually quite a common swap for these, or relatively common. Looks fairly good. Yeah, I think got a minor dent in the door there. Interior looks good. A bit minor wear and tear on that bolster. Got some speakers in here. And looks like an aftermarket exhaust. Yeah, it's a decent looking car. You know, it is high mileage. And it's certainly not perfect, but at the guide price this is, £6,000 to £7,000, sounds okay.
Online, you're in at the minute at 5,658 goes on. At 5,800, at 5,800 your bid. At 5,858, you're in online. Would you like to go £6,000? At 5,008. At 5,000, 5,008. Are we finishing done at 5,008? Once. At 5,800. I'll take 5,900 if you're nice and quick. Twice. At 5,800. We're finished and done at 5,800, 5,900. At 5,009. At 5,900 is bid. Would you like to come back in for £6,000? At 5,009. At 5,000, 5,009. 6 if you're coming back in now. We'll count you down then. It's online here. At 5,009. At 5,000, 5,900 a bid then once. 6,000's back in. Thank you again online. Your bid now at £6,000. Bridgewater bidder at 6,000, 6,000. At 6,000 under bidder. Would you like to come back for another 100? At 6,000, 6,000. At £6,000 is the bid now at 6. At 6,000, 6,000 the bid then once. Peugeot 309 GTI at £6,000 for the second time then. At £6,000, finished and done at £6,000. We are very, very close on that one at £6,000.
1983 Jaguar XJ6 here, so the 4.2 litre straight 6. Looks great, I think, in this copper. It's done about 79,000 miles. Got quite a lot of history, including a full respray. I think in the teens, the cylinder head rebuild. It had a replacement engine, reconditioned engine in 1999. And it looks in fairly good condition, but unfortunately all round, there is corrosion coming through, some minor damage there, but it's really the corrosion that's coming through. Don't know how well that comes out, but bubbling around this rear windscreen. And back here, bubbling along the bottom of that wing there. But actually the worst bit is all around this front windscreen, which, you know, it's all the way along. And I'd suggest there's some relatively major corrosion going on under there, unfortunately, which is a shame because this is otherwise a really lovely looking car. There's obviously some wear on the bolster, but generally pretty good in here. The wood veneer has held up really pretty well. There's stitching's going a bit on these back seats, but I think these Series 3 Jaguar XJs are such a lovely design. Beautiful Pininfarina design, of course. Just so elegant. But despite having said all that about the corrosion, this is no reserve, so it could be a bargain.
At 3,006. At 3,600 is the bid. At 3,600 the bid then 50. 3,650 back in. At 3,650 your bid. 3,7. At 3,700. At 3,007, shaking the head then, online's bid. At 3,700, hammers up. At 3,007, once, twice, finished, done, and selling now with the online bidder at 3,007. Sold your way.
Here's a 2001 Bentley ARNAGE. It's a red label, so back to the 6.75 turbo, rather than the 4.4 BMW that they started with, turned into the green label. This one's only about 77,000 miles. It looks in pretty good condition. And is guided, I think, pretty cheaply at 10 to 12,000 pounds. 14 service stamps. Black paintwork does show up quite a few kind of swirls and minor scratches, but really nothing major. And this light, to be honest, does show them up quite a bit. It's not the best light, but otherwise looks in fairly good condition. Quite a lot of patina on the rear seat, so maybe it was actually used as a chauffeur car at one point. The wood veneer can go a bit in these. There's a lot of patina on these front seats. Nothing too major, and inside looks really pretty good. Yeah, I reckon that could be a good buy. I haven't checked through the history fully, but it's had some periods of being off the road. But as I say, 14 service stamps. A little bit of damage here, and some scratching down this wing, but that would all come out with a good polish. We've also got a bit of fogging on these headlights as well. But again, nothing too major there. Yeah, nice looking car at that price, I think.
At 8,005. At 8,500 is the bid then once. At 8,500 the bid then twice. Finishing done then, we'll submit the bid online at £8,500. 8,750. 8,750 it goes on. At 8,750 is the bid now at 8,750. At £8,750 is with you in Australia. Underbidder, would you like to go again? At 8,750, we'll count you down now then. At 8,750 the bid then once, twice. Finished and done then at £8,750. Provisionally with you in line. There we go.
Quite a few MGBs here. I'm just picking out this one. It's a Roadster, much earlier model than some of the rubber bumper ones here. This is 1964 and only 48,000 miles. It's been showing pretty much that mileage for, I think, 8 years or something, so barely used, which is a bit of a risk, I think. From long-term ownership, guided at £6,000 to £7,000. And looks in fairly good condition. Apparently there's a minor issue with the starter motor, so something to bear in mind and may well affect the price. Yeah, paintwork's not perfect, as you'd probably expect at that price point. Bright work looks very good though. Of course, the 1.8 four-cylinder B-series engine in these. And one of the nicer looking ones here. In part just because I much prefer it over the rubber bumper ones you can see in the background there. A lovely little Triumph Vitesse here, by the way.
What we do at Manor Park. Look number 21, the CCM Spitfire flat tracker.
These wooden dashes never do so well. 1.6 in those, I believe.
Big confidence when it comes to the provision. To Steve Berry.
Tom, I would like to conduct an experiment. I'd like to get a Japanese car enthusiast, a German car enthusiast, an American car enthusiast. I'd like to give them some felt tip pens and blank sheets of white paper and ask them in 20 minutes to draw a British sports car. Because you see, I think that what they'd come up with is something very similar to this. A two-seater open-top sports car with leather seats, a wooden steering wheel, wire wheels on the outside, and a chrome rack with a wicker basket on the back. This is, as my old friend and colleague, Quentin 2 L's Wilson, so-called because his last name is spelt with 2 L's, would call quintessential, the quintessential British sports car. This one is low mileage. It's done just 47,000 miles. Looking at the old MOTs, it's had very little use in the last sort of 10 years or so. Of course, underneath that hood, you've got the 1800cc four-cylinder engine. Not exactly a ball of fire. The performance is described as respectable. But in aid of charity, I drove one of these recently, and I was just reminded of what a great thing they are. All to be in England on a sunny day in an MGB Roadster. Mate, if you're looking at something from 1964 that's still looking great and wearing its 6 decades well, don't just look at me, look as well, because I'm from 64, look as well at this fantastic, and as I said, I'll use that word again, quintessential British sports car, a 1964 MGB Roadster.
For the first time. At 4,006. 4.6 is just come in. 4.8. Gentleman's bid back in now at 4,008. Thank you very much, sir. At 4,008 is your bid. At 4.8 is the bid now at 4,008. Online, it needs to be 5,000 if you're coming back in. At 4.8 bid. At 4,000, 4,800 a bid then once. At 4,800 a bid then twice. Finished and done then with a gentleman down the front at £4,800. Finished and done. Your bid, sir, at £4,800.
So here's potentially the other end of the extremes of BMW E30 318. Sorry for the noise here with the motorbike auction going on. Beautiful colour this. This is only 42,000 miles.
Several commission bids with me going to go in at 4.
Extremely well looked after.
5.5, 6.
So these are the smaller four-cylinder engine.
£6,000 is the bid. At 6,000, 6,000, 6,000.
Another cabriolet. This one's a manual.
At 6,000 bid. At 6.5 online.
Not actually sure how much difference that makes in these.
Back to me. At 7,000, 7,000.
But wonderful condition, and I love the colour. As I said, the other extreme of condition compared with the one we looked at just a moment ago. Really lovely car. Minor dent along the back. Yeah, paintwork's not perfect, but really very good. Wheels are excellent. Yeah, lovely car. Interior looks really good. It's got a massive history file and only 42,000 miles. Consequently, guided at 16 to 18,000 pounds. Which seems like a huge amount for a 318 to me, but a lovely car.
At 9,500 is the bid. At 9,595 underbidder, it's your turn now. Would you like to go £10,000? At 9,005. At 9,59595. Finishing done then. Last chance in fair warning online. If you're coming back in for one more, we go once at 9,500. We go twice at 9,500. Finished and done then. We submit the bid to the vendor at 9,500. Provisionally with you online.
993 Porsche 911. This is a Carrera 2 Cabriolet.
Make it nice and quick online. Hammers up again at 950. No reserve. It's going to sell once, twice.
1995. And I love this colour of 911 from this era. Fuchs style wheels. Paintwork looks fairly good. It's quite high mileage this. I think something like 118,000 miles. I love the tail on these. This is a Tiptronic, so 6-speed auto before the PDK. Blue leather interior looks fairly good.
Twice. Finished and done and selling now. Your bid.
But guided at 34 to 38,000 pounds. Although these 993s do make good money, I think it might struggle to make that because it's Tiptronic and it's quite high mileage, and it's also a category insurance write-off as well. So I think that's going to struggle to make that, to be honest.
25 just coming up top. 25, 26. I'll tell you what, I'll be nice and fair. I'll go 25.5 if you want to come back in. 26 up top, sorry. 26.5 if you want to come back in now. Your bid at top. 26,000. Coming back in at 26.5. Thinking about it. Online. Would you like the 500? At 26,000 is the bid. Are we finished? Are we done? At 26,000 pounds once. At 26,000 pounds twice. Last chance and fair warning, your bid at 26,000 pounds. We'll see what we can do for you. 650.
Interesting car here, Daimler Dart from 1960. Really well looked after, about 29,000 miles. These had a V8 in them. I don't know a huge amount about them, if I'm honest. Had kind of light refurbishment work, recommissioning, I think, back in the about 15 years ago or so. And it's guided in the low to mid-20s. I honestly don't know what these usually make, I have to say. I don't see many of them around. Looks in very good condition. Apparently resprayed just a few years ago. But it is a little bit tatty in places. For example.
Right then, number 56, 2005 BMW R1100S. This one is the boxer couple at O2.
So slightly worryingly, it's absolutely covered in underseal under here. So really thick. I was having a look to see what it was like and just really couldn't tell because it's plastered in underseal.
The 1960 Daimler. And there's no better person to go over to than this one, than the old Top Gear presenter, Mr. Steve Berry.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned it before I did. Tom, imagine it's the 1950s and you are one of the bosses at Daimler, which then was still Daimler, although they were owned, curiously, by a motorcycle company, BSA. You're watching the competition from Triumph, MG, and even Lotus sell loads of cars, particularly to Americans, and you think what we need to do is we need to build a sports car. And this is what they came up with, the Daimler Dart. Now, Edward Turner was no fool. He'd had a great success with motorcycles like the Speed Twin and the Triumph Bonneville and the Ariel Square 4. And he knew that there's one thing that Americans like more than cake. It's a V8 engine. So he stuck one underneath this fiberglass hood. An absolute gem of a 2.5-litre V8 with hemispherical heads. This particular example has been around since 1960. It's had a rather lovely respray about 10 years ago in Jaguar opalescent grey, and the seats have been recovered in black leather with white piping. Can you believe that at the time they sold this as a 2+2, which only counted if the other two were a pair of particularly feisty West Island Terriers called Angus and Hamish? Because a human being, even a child, I've had children and they've got legs. No human being could actually sit in the back of this car. A very distinctive car. Don't be obvious. Don't get the obvious MG or Triumph. Be smart. Buy a Dart.
13,000. At 13,000 is the bid. 13.5 in the middle. At 13.5. At 13.5, 13.5. At 13,500 is your bid here in the middle of the room. At 13.5, online looking for you now. Would you like to go again? At 13.5. At 13.5, 13.5, are we finished and done at just 13,500? At 13.5. At 13,500 a bid then, 13.5 is the bid then. Online looking for you now. We go once. So you ready, your bid, sir, at 13.5. At 13.5, 13.5. Last chance in fair warning then. Gentleman's bid at 13,500. I'm going to count you down once at 13,500. Twice. Finishing done at 13,500. Your bid, Sarah.
Beautiful Triumph TR6 here. I love this colour. This one is in really superb condition. It's the 150 horsepower iteration.
£2,000. It makes a telephone call. That's all that matters.
Really excellent, lovely car. It's a 1972 and apparently had a body off restoration some years ago. More recently, it's had loads of work done to it, including a new mohair hood, loads of engine work, new engine parts. Looks excellent. Very, very minor damage in places, but lovely car. Guided at 13 to 15,000 pounds. I reckon that's not a bad buy. These must be replacement seats as well. The wood dash has actually held up much better than many I see. Not always the best quality wood in these.
At £12,000. 12.2's bid. 12.2. And 4 straight back in. And we're on outright sale now at £12,400. At 12.4. At 12,400 we're bid. Are you coming back in for one more? Last chance in fair warning. We're going to sell online at 12,400. The bid then once online with you at £12,400. And twice. Finished, done, selling at £12,400. Sold at 12.
There we go, a great day out here at Manor Park Classics as always. A good range of cars, all the way from 60s, as I said, up to the more modern classics, and quite a lot of affordable to mid-range ones. So they've got a great auction coming up in a couple of weeks, 12th of November. Kind of prestige performance cars. You can see a couple of Ferraris. I think this is a mount tune played with a Focus RS. And an Aston Martin Vanquish and a 911. Promises to be a good auction, actually, that one.
Hello, Stephen. This is Stephen Ashford, who's the chairman of Manor Park Classics. And we want to talk about our platinum sale, don't we, Stephen?
Yes, we do. We've got a great lineup already. Some of them are here, portioned off here. We've got some supercars. Yeah, quite excited about it.
I like that Focus there in Focus Blue. It looks like a regular Focus RS, which is a great car, but maybe not something that you might expect to find in our platinum sale. But that one's a very special one, isn't it? I think you only need to look at those massive mount tune calipers to realise that's not a regular RS.
It's very, very highly spec'd. Great colour as well, isn't it? I mean,
it is. I love that Ford RS Blue. It's a fantastic colour.
Colours.
Yeah. It is very much so, isn't it? Hey, Magnum PI, Stephen.
Yeah, I had one of these a few years ago. I had one with 1,000 miles on the clock. Imagine what that's worth now. Yeah, it's a 32S GTS, one of the final run-out models. Very special car, beautiful car. I mean, they stand so well, don't they?
Well, this not exactly the fastest. You own some very fast cars. I've managed to drive other people's very fast cars. Not the fastest car in the world, but I think one of the best looking. And they say in Ferrari circles, one of the most reliable cars that Ferrari have ever made.
Yeah, very solid, ran well. This is a GTS, so I think it's an 88 from memory. Really, really solid, great car, and very popular for a long period of time. Yeah. Ferrari ran this from, I think it was 76 until 89. This was the final GTS late 80s run-out series. So, yeah, it was a long-standing car for Ferrari.
And can I give you a bit of trivia on it?
Go on, please do.
Those wing mirrors are exactly the same mirrors that Ducati's had on it. A Ducati from that period had not just similar, but the exact same rear view. But people often say, oh, Ducati's the Ferrari of motorcycles. So, you know.
Yeah. I mean, they developed the 288 GTO from this car.
Yeah.
Which is probably one of the first, if not the first, halo car that Ferrari made.
And that's one of my favourite cars of all time because of top trumps. In top trumps, if you got the 288 GTO, it'd beat just about anything.
Yeah, my favourite halo cars are the 288 GTO and the F40.
Wow.
All from this period.
Yeah.
All from the late 80s, 1990. So fantastic. Great car.
This car's got a hell of a presence, hasn't it? Especially from this frontal view, seeing that coming up behind you. I used to work for a bloke a long time ago. I've said this before. He had 3 cars. He was the chairman of a PLC, and I worked as his assistant. He had a Range Rover, which was a big deal in the late 80s. He had a 750iL BMW, and he had an Aston Martin V8 Vantage in fire engine red. And the thing that I remember about that car is when I was only 25, we had a heck of a job getting me insured on those 3 cars, but we did eventually. People would swerve so violently out of the way to get out of its way. It was unbelievable. And I think this is a similar car. This is a car which, if it was coming up behind you on the motorway, you get out of the way, wouldn't you? Because it's got so much presence.
Yeah, so this was the top of the range at the time, the Vanquish. This is an S.
Yeah.
So super fast, super fast. And it's just had quite an extensive refurbishment program, and it looks and drives superbly, absolutely superbly. It's a really nice car.
These are amazing value for money as well, aren't they? Because the price now compared to the new price, it's quite sharp intake of breath when you realise how much they were new.
Steve, unbelievable value for money. I mean, this can be bought for, I think this is guided at around 38,000, and it's an S, which was the specialist run-out version of it. So it's one of the latest, one of the last ones. Yeah, the fantastic value for money. When you think that these were probably 180,000 brand new.
Yeah. And this one's been looked after, hasn't it? It's obvious. You just look at the front for evidence of neglect. It's not there. The wheels are in great shape. The interior is fantastic. That's what our platinum sale's all about, really, isn't it? We have great cars in the regular sales at Manor Park, but this is something just a bit special.
Yeah, so our platinum sale is all about focusing on cars that are over 40,000. So, and that's all kinds of classic cars, sports cars, performance cars, vintage cars, but it's just focusing above that bracket, because we here at Manor Park Classics fill this space with cars for all budgets. And it's always been our thing since the day we started, and it always will be. So there's cars here for every pocket, from 5,000 to 500,000. And all walks of life. Anybody who wants to get into classic motoring can come to Manor Park Classics, and they can start their life in classic cars.
Yeah,
and it's always been very important to us to do that. Not just focus on high level, unachievable things, but really get people on that ticket, on that dream ticket from day one. And that's what we do here every 7 weeks. But yeah, the platinum is to focus on. And we only have two, perhaps 3 of them a year.
Stephen, can I take you back just for a moment to the mid to late 80s? And anyone who thought they were anyone and made a bit of brass doing whatever they were doing, football player, property developer, car dealer, anybody who thought they were anybody got themselves one of them, and it was that colour, wasn't it? Guards red.
Guards red. That's it. Yeah. And when you saw one on the road, it was a real head turner, wasn't it? As you said earlier, in the 80s, really posh cars, classic, really good sports cars were not. They weren't around very often.
You didn't see them that much. When you saw one, big deal.
You stopped in the street and watched it go by, didn't you? Really, it was fantastic.
But it really did epitomise that era, didn't it? And especially in cabriolet form. I personally prefer the coupe. I prefer a hardtop car. But there was something about the cabriolet version that spoke of glamour, success, money at that time. And this is a particularly good example, isn't it?
Very good example, yeah. Really, really well kept, really well cherished, and you can see it there. It's it'll go well, that. And it's got the famous tin top whale tail at the back. The tea tray, as they call it.
It's got to have the tea tray, hasn't it? I remember one of these ended up in a canal. Because, like, as I say, a lot of the lads, a lot of these cars, this particular model, they had hard lives, because the fellas, and it was fellas, if I'm honest, that bought these, lived fast. They worked hard and they lived fast, didn't they? So to find one in this absolutely ridiculously brilliant condition, quite rare.
It wasn't always fellas. Victoria Principal had one in Dallas.
Did she?
Yes, she did.
Right.
Absolutely.
I thought she would have had
it herself. The girls have them as well.
Oh,
while we're chatting, can we just mention that we're underneath our brand new mezzanine? Let's just give this a mention, please. So this mezzanine will turn us into the largest fixed permanent auction facility in the UK.
Yeah,
gives us more floor space than anybody else. And what this is going to be above, it's going to concentrate on the bikes. There will be some cars up there as well, but it gives us indoor storage for over 200 cars and 100 bikes.
Yeah.
Which is just out of this world, you know, and that's inside in a secure gated environment. There's also room for another 100 cars outside as well. So, you know, we can be having sales, ongoing sales and an ongoing stock of 250, 300 cars plus 100 bikes.